Her rich mother had already chosen the man she would marry, a billionaire senator's son. But Amaka had already given her heart to a poor mechanic with nothing but a dream. When she refused the arranged marriage, her own mother turned her life into a prison. But would love be enough to survive money, power, and family pressure? Stay with us to find out. Before we begin, please support our channel by liking this video, subscribing to Lisa Tales, and turning on the notification bell so you never miss our next emotional story. Now, let's begin. Amaka sat in the living room with her hands folded tightly in her lap. She was not even listening to the soft music playing from the speaker in the corner. Her mind was on one thing only. Her mother had called the family lawyer, and the man had brought a file with a smile on his face, as if he had come to deliver something good. But Amaka had seen the name inside the file, and her chest had gone cold. Tunde, the son of Senator Kalu, the man her mother wanted her to marry. Mrs. Okafor sat across from her with her shoulders straight and her face calm. She looked like a woman who had already made up her mind and saw no reason to change it.
You will meet his family this weekend. This is a good match. Very good. Tunde is from a strong family. This marriage will help your future and our family too.
Amaka looked up slowly.
Mommy, I have already told you I am not interested. You're not interested because you're still behaving like a child. I will not thank you for forcing me into a marriage I do not want.
The room went quiet. A maid passed near the door and stopped when she heard the sharpness in Amaka's voice. She lowered her head and moved away quickly. Mrs. Okafor's expression hardened. "Watch the way you speak to me." Amaka took a slow breath. She was trying very hard not to raise her voice, but the anger in her chest was getting stronger. "Tunde is rude," she said. "He talks to people like they are beneath him. He acts as if the whole world should bow for him. He is not the kind of man I want." Mrs. Okafor's lips pressed together. "And you think love will feed you? You think feelings alone will build a future? This family does not need childish dreams. We need wisdom. We need connection. We need strength." "I need peace," Amaka said quietly. "I need a husband I can respect. I need someone I can love."
You will love him after marriage. No, Mommy, that is not how it should be. Listen to me, Amaka. What you want is not more important than what is best for this family.
Mrs. Okafor walked closer and stood over her daughter. "Listen to me, Amaka. I did not raise you to waste your life on useless emotions. Senator Kalu is not an ordinary man. His son will give you a life other girls can only dream about." Amaka finally stood too, her eyes filling with tears she refused to let fall. "And what about me? What do I want?" For a moment, Mrs. Okafor said nothing. Then she replied, "What you want is not more important than what is best for this family." That sentence hit Amaka harder than a slap. She looked at her mother, really looked at her, and saw only one thing. Her mother had already chosen money over her happiness. Amaka turned and walked away before the tears in her eyes could fall. Upstairs in her room, she shut the door and leaned against it. Her heart was beating too fast. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, angry that she was crying at all. This was not the first time they had fought about Tunde. It had been going on for weeks. Each time her mother brought up the marriage, Amaka refused. Each time the arguments became worse. At first, Amaka had thought her mother would calm down. She had believed that after a few days, after seeing how unhappy she was, her mother would let the matter go. But Mrs. Okafor was not backing down. That evening, Amaka sat at her dressing table and stared at her reflection. She was tired of being treated like a business deal. Her father was rarely home. Her mother had become the one making all the decisions, and every decision seemed to be about image, class, and power. Amaka had grown up in a rich home, but she had never felt free in it. Her phone rang on the table. She checked the screen and saw the name of her best friend, Chisholm Eze. She picked it up quickly.
"Amaka, are you okay? Your voice sounds bad."
I am fine.
"You are not fine. Did your mother bring up that senator's son again?" "Yes."
That woman is serious, oh. I don't know what to do anymore.
Amaka closed her eyes. "Yes." Chisholm sighed on the other end. "That woman is serious, oh." Amaka let out a slow breath. "I don't know what to do anymore." "Do not agree because of pressure," Chisholm said. "You are the one that will live with the man." That was true, and it made Amaka feel even worse. She already knew she could never marry Tunde. He had spoken to her only twice, and each time he had behaved as if he was doing her a favor by being in the same room with her. The thought of a lifetime with him made her feel empty. She and Chisholm talked for a few more minutes before Amaka ended the call. But even after the phone was off, her mind would not rest. The next morning, her mother called her for breakfast. Amaka went downstairs slowly. In the dining room, her mother was already seated with a cup of tea. Beside her sat their family friend and advisor, Mr. Bassi, a quiet man in glasses who often came around to discuss family matters and business. Amaka greeted them and sat down. Mrs. Okafor placed a paper on the table. "We are
We are
meeting
meeting
Senator
Senator Kalu's
Kalu's
family on
on
Saturday.
Saturday."
I am.
Amaka stared at the paper. "I am not going." "You will go." "No, I will not." Mr. Bassi cleared his throat softly, like he wished he was anywhere else. Mrs. Okafor looked at her daughter with a firm face. "Amaka, stop making this difficult." "I am not making it difficult. I am saying no." The older woman's eyes flashed. "And I am saying you have to learn to think beyond yourself." Amaka's voice rose a little. "So my happiness does not matter?" "It matters," Mrs. Okafor said, "but not more than this family's future." Amaka pushed her chair back slightly. "Then you are asking for too much." Mrs. Okafor's hand came down on the table. "You are being stubborn. And you are being unfair." Mr. Bassi looked down at his hands. The air in the room was tense. Amaka stood up. "I am done with this conversation." Mrs. Okafor rose too. "You will not walk out on me." Amaka paused and turned back. Her face was wet now, but she did not care anymore. "I am your daughter, not a tool for your plans." Her mother stared at her with shock, then anger. "You should be ashamed of yourself." Amaka swallowed hard. "No, Mummy, you should be ashamed for trying to sell your daughter into a life she does not want." The room went silent again. Mr. Bassi adjusted his glasses and looked away. He clearly did not want to be part of the moment. Mrs. Okafor's face changed. "Leave this table," she said coldly. Amaka did not wait for another word. She walked out of the dining room with her heart pounding. She could hear her mother calling her stubborn, ungrateful, and foolish, but she kept going. By the time she reached her room, her hands were shaking. She sat on the bed and stared at the wall.
Is this how my life is going to be? Will she keep pushing until I give in? Will I be forced to smile beside a man I do not love? No. No matter how they push me, I will not agree. I love my mother, but I cannot live like this.
That same afternoon, Amaka asked the driver to take her out. She needed air. She needed space. She needed to breathe away from the heavy walls of the house. Her mother did not like it, but she allowed it. Amaka sat in the back seat of the car and looked out of the window as they drove past busy roads and small shops. She was quiet the whole way. The driver, a middle-aged man named Amaka, noticed her mood but said nothing. After some time, he asked gently, "Should I take you back home, Ma?" Amaka shook her head. Not yet. She did not want to go back to that house so soon. She wanted one peaceful hour, just one. She had no idea that before the day ended, her life would begin to change in a way she could never have expected. And that change would start with a broken car on a lonely road and a man named Chika Nwosu. The following afternoon, Amaka decided to go out again. She wanted to clear her mind before returning home. Her driver, Amaka, drove quietly while she looked out through the window. After a while, the car began to shake. Amaka frowned. Something isn't right. He slowed down and parked by the roadside. He opened the bonnet and checked the engine, but after several minutes he still could not find the problem. He called two nearby mechanics. They came, looked at the engine, argued with each other, and finally admitted they did not know what was wrong. Amaka sighed. She was already tired from everything happening at home. Just then, another young man walked toward them carrying a small toolbox. He wore a clean blue overall with grease stains on the sleeves. One of the mechanics pointed at him. "Let Chica check it." The young man smiled politely. "My name is Chika Nwosu," he said, looking at Amaka and Amaka. "May I have a look?" Amaka stepped aside. Chika examined the engine carefully without saying much. He checked a few parts, tightened something, and replaced a small damaged wire from his toolbox.
Try starting it now.
Amaka entered the car and turned the key. The engine came alive immediately. Amaka smiled with relief. It has been refusing to start for almost an hour. Chica closed the bonnet. The wire was damaged. It looked like a bigger problem, but it wasn't. Amaka looked at him with surprise. So you found it that quickly? He nodded. I've seen this problem before. She smiled for the first time that day. Thank you. When it was time to pay, Amaka handed him much more money than he requested. Chica counted it, removed the extra notes, and returned them. This is too much. Amaka looked at him. You fixed it in a few minutes. I only collected what the work is worth. She had met many people who tried to take advantage of wealthy customers. Chica was different. What if I simply want to appreciate you? She asked. He smiled gently. You already have. Thank you. His answer made her laugh softly. As she turned to leave, she stopped. What made you become a mechanic? My late father was one, Chica replied. I started learning from him when I was young. Since he passed away, I've continued. One day, I want to own the biggest automobile workshop and service center in the country. He said it with quiet confidence. Not pride, not arrogance, just hope. I believe it will happen, Amaka said. Thank you. She entered the car, but before the driver moved, she looked back once more. Chica had already picked up his toolbox and returned to work, as if nothing special had happened. On the
I have
journey
met
home,
many rich
Amaka
men.
could not stop thinking about him.
Very few are
She
as
had met
honest
many
as the
rich
poor
men.
mechanic I just
Very
met.
few were as honest as the poor mechanic she had just met. 3 days later, Amaka was driving herself to visit her friend, Chisholm. The road was busy, and children were returning from school. As she turned into another street, a young man suddenly ran across the road after a rolling football. Amaka stepped hard on the brake. The tires screeched loudly. But it was too late. The young man fell to the ground. Amaka's heart almost stopped. She jumped out of the car and rushed to him. I'm so sorry. The young man was holding his leg, breathing heavily. Some people gathered around immediately.
Take him to the hospital.
Without wasting another second, Amaka and 2 passers-by carefully helped him into her car. She drove straight to the nearest hospital. Doctors attended to him immediately while Amaka waited outside with trembling hands. She blamed herself over and over. After some time, a doctor came out. He'll be fine, the doctor said. He has a fracture, but you brought him here quickly. Amaka finally breathed again. I'll pay all the bills, she said. The doctor nodded. Later that evening, a young man hurried into the hospital. Amaka looked up. It was Chika. The moment he saw her, both of them froze.
You? I'm sorry.
Amaka slowly stood. I'm sorry. She lowered her eyes. I didn't see him until he ran into the road. Chika looked through the glass window into the hospital room.
My brother?
Yes,
My younger brother, Jude.
he'll recover. The doctor said he'll be okay.
Thank you for bringing him here.
You want?
For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Chika sighed. Thank you for bringing him here. Amaka looked surprised. You aren't angry. He looked tired. The accident wasn't intentional. If you had driven away, that would have been different. But you stayed. She felt tears gathering in her eyes. I couldn't leave him. I know. Just then, the doctor invited them inside. Jude smiled weakly from the hospital bed. Brother. Chika walked over and gently held his hand. You're going to be fine. Jude looked at Amaka. Thank you for helping me. She shook her head. I'm the one who should be apologizing. Over the next few days, Amaka visited the hospital every evening. She brought fruits, food, and whatever Jude needed, but she never acted as though she was doing anyone a favor. She simply wanted to make sure he recovered well. Jude soon became comfortable around her. He joked with her, laughed with her, and even teased Chika whenever Amaka visited. One evening after leaving Jude's room, Amaka and Chika stood outside the hospital.
You've been coming every day.
I still feel responsible.
You've done more than enough.
I'll keep coming until he's discharged.
You have a kind heart, Amaka.
No one had ever complimented her like that before. Not because of her beauty, not because of her family's wealth, but because of who she was. As she drove home that evening, she found herself smiling. Without knowing it, both she and Chica had started looking forward to seeing each other. Neither of them realized that what began with a broken car and later an unfortunate accident was slowly becoming something much deeper. A week later, Jude was discharged from the hospital. Amaka was there when he was leaving. She helped him carry a small bag to the car.
You don't have to keep visiting me now.
Are you chasing me away already?
No, I only mean you've done enough. He's trying to say thank you.
I know, but I want to know that you're recovering well.
I know, Amaka said, but I want to know that you're recovering well. After dropping Jude at home, Amaka stayed for a while. It was her first time seeing where Chica lived. The house was small and old, but it was neat. There was a little workshop beside it where Chica repaired cars every day. As she looked around, she noticed that every tool had its place.
You like keeping things in order.
If I don't, I'll waste time looking for my tools.
That makes sense.
From that day, Amaka visited from time to time. Sometimes she brought lunch for Jude. Other times, she simply came to greet them before leaving. The neighbors were surprised to see a wealthy young woman sitting comfortably in a mechanic's workshop. Amaka did not care. While Chica worked, she would sit nearby and watch. One afternoon, Chica noticed her looking closely as he repaired a car. "You've been watching for almost 30 minutes. She laughed. "I've never seen how cars are repaired before." He picked up a small tool. "Come." She walked over. "This is one of the easiest things to learn." He showed her a few simple parts inside the engine. She listened carefully and asked questions. "You learn fast," Chica said. "My mother thinks I only belong in fancy places." "And what do you think?" "I think every honest job deserves respect." Chica looked at her and smiled quietly. As the days passed, they talked more. Amaka told him about growing up in a wealthy home where almost every decision had already been made for her. Chica shared stories about learning mechanics from his late father. "When my father died," he said one evening, "I almost gave up. But Jude was still in school. I couldn't stop." "You've done well," Amaka said. "I'm still far from where I want to be." "You'll get there." He looked at her. "You always believe in me." "Because you believe in yourself." Chica smiled. For the first time in a long while, someone believed in his dream without laughing at him. Little by little, they became close. Jude noticed it before they did. One afternoon, after Amaka had left, Jude looked at his brother and smiled. "You like her?" Chica laughed. "Don't start." "I'm serious." Chica shook his head. "She's a good person, that's all." Jude smiled knowingly, but said nothing. That evening, Amaka was smiling to herself as Amaka drove her home. She had spent only a few hours with Chica, but somehow her worries always became lighter whenever she was around him. She did not know it yet, but friendship was slowly becoming something more. Mrs. Okafor was sitting in the living room when Amaka returned home. She looked at the time on the wall before looking at her daughter.
You are coming home late again.
I lost track of time.
"Where were you?" Amaka hesitated. "I went to see a friend." Mrs. Okafor narrowed her eyes. "What friend?" Before Amaka could answer, the family driver, Amaka, walked into the house after parking the car. Mrs. Okafor turned to him. "Amaka." "Yes, ma." "Where did you take Amaka?" Amaka became uncomfortable. He looked at Amaka before answering. "She asked me to take her to a mechanic's workshop." Mrs. Okafor's face changed immediately. "A mechanic?" "Yes, ma." "You can go." Amaka quietly left. Mrs. Okafor stood up slowly.
Who is this mechanic?
His name is Chica.
And what business?
"His name is Chica." "And what business do you have with him?" "He's my friend." Her mother's eyes widened. "Friend?" "Yes." Mrs. Okafor laughed bitterly.
You mean to tell me that after everything I've done for you, you've chosen to spend your time with a roadside mechanic?
He is hardworking.
I didn't ask whether he works hard.
He is kind.
Mrs. Okafor shook her head in disbelief.
Amaka,
Amaka,
have you forgotten who you are?
No.
No.
Then start acting like
Then
it.
start acting like
My-
it. My friends should not be chosen because of their bank accounts. They should be chosen wisely. I have. Mrs. Okafor's voice became louder. You are expected to marry Tunde, not a mechanic. I never agreed to marry Tunde. You don't have a choice. I do. Mrs. Okafor pointed toward the staircase. You will stop seeing Chica from today. Amaka stood still. I can't. You can. I won't. Silence filled the room. Mrs. Okafor took a deep breath. I have been patient with you, but you are beginning to disgrace this family. I'm not disgracing anyone. You are throwing away your future. My future should be my decision. Mrs. Okafor looked at her with disappointment. You have allowed that poor boy to confuse you. No, Mummy. He has. He hasn't. What exactly do you see in him? Amaka answered without thinking. I see a good man. Her mother stared at her. Then she understood. This was no longer an ordinary friendship. That same evening, Tunde called Mrs. Okafor. My greetings, Auntie. Good evening, Tunde. I've been trying to reach Amaka, but she hardly answers my calls. Mrs. Okafor sighed. She's being stubborn. Tunde's voice became serious. Is there someone else? Mrs. Okafor was quiet for a moment. I believe there's a young mechanic she's been spending time with. A mechanic? Tunde repeated. Yes. I'll find out who he is. There is nothing to find out. There is. His voice sounded cold. No mechanic is going to stand between me and what already belongs to me. Mrs. Okafor frowned at those words, but she said nothing before ending the call. The following afternoon, Tunde drove to Chika's workshop after making a few inquiries. He stepped out of his expensive car wearing dark sunglasses. Chica looked up from the car he was repairing. Good afternoon. Tunde removed his glasses slowly. So you're Chica? Yes, I'm Tunde. Chica nodded politely. How can I help you? Tunde looked around the workshop with a smile that carried pride instead of kindness. So this is where you work? Yes. I'll keep this short. He stepped closer. Stay away from Amaka. Chica remained calm. She's free to decide who she wants to be friends with. Tunde laughed. You actually think you belong anywhere near her? I never said that. You are just a mechanic. And I'm proud of my work. Tunde's smile disappeared. Listen carefully. If I ever see you with her again, you'll regret it. He turned and entered his car. As he drove away, Jude, who had been inside the workshop, came outside. What did he want? Chica watched the car disappear down the road. He wanted me to stay away from Amaka. Jude frowned. What are you going to do? Chica looked at the workshop, then at the road ahead. I'm not afraid of him. For the first time, Chica understood that loving Amaka would come with a price. And that price was beginning to reveal itself. After Tunde's visit to the workshop, everything changed. He began calling Amaka almost every day, but she ignored his calls. When he sent messages, she deleted them without reading them. Mrs. Okafor noticed everything. One evening, she walked into Amaka's room without knocking.
Give me your phone.
My phone?
Yes.
Why? Because I said so. I'm not a child.
The phone. You won't be needing this for now.
I'm not a child. Mrs. Okafor stretched out her hand. The phone. Knowing an argument would only make things worse, Amaka handed it over. Her mother switched it off and kept it. You won't be needing this for now. Amaka stared at her. What do you mean? You spend too much time talking to people who are distracting you. You mean Chica? Exactly. Amaka took a deep breath. You can't decide who I speak to. I just did. Mrs. Okafor walked out with the phone. The next morning, Amaka discovered that her bank cards no longer worked. She called the bank from the house telephone. After confirming her details, the customer care officer spoke politely. Your accounts have been placed on temporary restriction. Amaka already knew who was behind it. She dropped the receiver and closed her eyes. Later that afternoon, she decided to drive herself out, but the driver shook his head. I'm sorry, madam. What is it, Amaka? Madam instructed me not to release any of the cars to you. Amaka looked at him in disbelief. So I can't even leave the house? Amaka lowered his head. I'm only following instructions. She turned and walked back inside. That evening she confronted her mother.
You froze my accounts.
Yes.
You collected my phone.
Yes.
You stopped me from using the cars.
Yes. Yes.
Why are you doing this to me?
Yes. Why are you doing this to me? Mrs. Okafor looked at her calmly. Because I want you to think. I've already thought. No, you're letting your emotions control you. I love my life, Mummy. I don't want the one you're forcing on me. Mrs. Okafor folded her arms. You'll thank me one day. I won't. You will. I'll only end up hating you. For the first time, Mrs. Okafor looked hurt, but her voice remained firm. I would rather have you angry today than regret your life tomorrow. Amaka shook her head. You don't even hear yourself anymore. Mrs. Okafor walked away without another word. The following morning, 2 security guards were standing at the gate. When Amaka tried to walk out, one of them blocked her politely. I'm sorry, madam. I only want to go for a walk. We've been told not to allow you outside. Amaka stared at him. So I'm now a prisoner? The guard looked uncomfortable. I'm only doing my job. Amaka slowly turned back toward the house. As she walked inside, tears filled her eyes. She had never felt so trapped in her own home. Across town, Chica stood outside his workshop, looking at the road. It had been several days since he had seen Amaka. He had tried calling her many times, but her phone remained switched off. Something wasn't right. I don't like this, Jude said quietly. Neither do I, Chica replied. I hope she's okay. Chica looked into the distance. So do I. 3 more days passed. Amaka barely left her room. She had lost her appetite. She spent hours sitting by the window, wondering if she would ever see Chica again. Every day her mother asked the same question. Have you changed your mind? Every day Amaka gave the same answer. No. Mrs. Okafor became more frustrated. One afternoon, the family housekeeper, Naomi, knocked gently on Amaka's door. Naomi had worked for the family for over 20 years. She had watched Amaka grow from a little girl into a young woman. To her, Amaka felt like a daughter. May I come in? Naomi asked. Amaka nodded. Naomi entered carrying a tray of food. You haven't eaten. I'm not hungry. Naomi sat beside her. You can't keep punishing yourself. Amaka looked at her with tired eyes. I'm not punishing myself. Then what are you doing? I don't know anymore. Naomi gently held her hand. I've never seen you like this. Amaka's voice broke. I feel like nobody cares about what I want. Naomi sighed. I know. You know. I hear everything in this house. Tears rolled down Amaka's cheeks. I love my mother. I know. But she won't even listen to me. Naomi quietly wiped away one of Amaka's tears. Sometimes people become so focused on what they believe is right that they stop seeing the pain they are causing. Amaka looked at her. I just want to live my own life. Naomi was silent for a moment. Then she spoke softly. If you stay here, nothing will change. Amaka frowned. What do you mean? Naomi lowered her voice. If you truly believe Chica is the man you want to spend your life with, then you need to fight for your happiness. Amaka stared at her. How? I can help you leave. Amaka's eyes widened. Naomi, I've thought about this for days. If my mother finds out, she will. And you'll lose your job. Naomi smiled sadly. Some things are more important than a job. That night, Naomi quietly made the arrangements. She waited until everyone had gone to bed. Just after midnight, she knocked gently on Amaka's door. It's time. Amaka carried only a small backpack. She looked around her room one last time. Everything she had ever owned was there, but none of it mattered anymore. Naomi led her through the back of the house. The security guards at the front gate knew nothing. A small side gate, rarely used, had been left unlocked. Naomi opened it carefully. She hugged Amaka tightly. Go. Amaka held her for a few seconds. Thank you. Be happy. With tears in her eyes, Amaka hurried into the darkness. She found a taxi on the main road and gave the driver the address of Chica's workshop. Nearly 30 minutes later, the taxi stopped. The workshop was closed. A light was on inside the small house beside it. Amaka knocked gently. A few seconds later, the door opened. Chica stood there. For a moment, neither of them spoke. His eyes widened with shock. Amaka. The moment she saw him, all the strength she had been holding onto disappeared. She burst into tears. Without thinking, Chica stepped forward. What happened? They locked me inside the house.
They
she
locked
cried.
me inside the
My
house.
mother took everything from me. Chica guided her inside. Jude came out of his room immediately. Amaka? She nodded weakly. After listening to everything that had happened, the room became silent. Finally, Chica spoke. Your mother will be looking for you. I know. They'll probably come here too. I know. Chica rubbed his face. This is bigger than all of us. Before anyone could say another word, Amaka remembered something.
My friend Ada is living abroad. She has an empty apartment. She gave me the keys months ago in case I ever needed someone to check the place.
Nobody would think of looking there.
Are you sure?
Then we'll go there.
Chica was quiet for a few moments. Then he looked at Amaka. Are you sure? She nodded. I trust both of you. Chica took a deep breath. Then we'll go there. Before sunrise, the three of them quietly left the house. None of them knew what tomorrow would bring. But one thing was certain. Amaka had chosen love over comfort. And there was no turning back. The apartment was small but comfortable. It belonged to Amaka's friend, Ada, who had traveled abroad for work. Before leaving the country, Ada had given Amaka a spare key in case the apartment ever needed to be checked. Now it had become Amaka's safe place. The first few days were not easy. She had never lived without housemaids or drivers. This time, she swept the rooms herself, cooked simple meals, washed dishes, and even learned to manage with very little. She never complained. Every morning, Chica left early for the workshop. One day, Amaka followed him.
You don't have to come.
I want to.
She spent the day watching him work. When customers arrived, she greeted them warmly and helped keep the workshop tidy. Soon, some of the customers began asking if she worked there. She simply smiled. As the days passed, Chica noticed that Amaka never acted as if any job was beneath her. One afternoon, while they were eating lunch together, Chica looked at her.
Do you miss your old life?
But I don't miss feeling trapped.
Chica nodded slowly. I'm sorry you're going through all this because of me. Amaka shook her head. No, I made my choice. She reached for his hand, and I don't regret it. For a moment, they simply looked at each other. Then Chica smiled. It was the first time in many days that he truly felt hopeful. Meanwhile, Mrs. Okafor had become restless. She had reported Amaka missing to a few trusted family friends and quietly sent people to search for her. Every day she hoped someone would call with good news. Instead, there was only silence. Tunde was even more determined. He was convinced that Chica was hiding Amaka. One afternoon he drove to the workshop with two men. Customers stopped what they were doing as he walked in. Tunde looked around before facing Chica. Where is she? I don't know. Don't lie to me. I've told you the truth. Tunde stepped closer. If I find out you're hiding her, I'll make sure nobody brings a car to this workshop again. Chica looked him in the eye. You can't threaten me into leaving someone I care about. Tunde laughed. You really think love will save you? No, Chica replied calmly, but fear won't change my mind. Tunde's face hardened. This isn't over. He got into his car and drove away. Jude walked over immediately.
Do you think he'll come back? Yes. Are you afraid? I won't lie. But I'm more afraid of losing her.
That evening, Amaka listened quietly as Chica told her everything. Tears filled her eyes.
I'm sorry.
You've apologized enough.
I never wanted your life to become like this.
We're in this together.
Maybe we really can overcome this.
For the first time since leaving home, Amaka truly believed they could overcome anything. The next morning, Amaka made a decision. I can't keep hiding. Chica looked at her. What do you mean? I have to speak to my mother. It may not end well. It won't end at all if I keep running. Chica knew she was right. Later that day, Amaka asked Naomi to arrange a meeting. When Naomi heard her voice on the phone, she almost cried with relief. My child, are you safe? Yes. Thank God. I want to see my mother. I'll talk to her. The following afternoon, Naomi arranged for them to meet at Ada's apartment. Mrs. Okafor arrived with only Naomi. The moment she saw Amaka, she rushed forward and hugged her tightly. For several seconds, neither
You
of
made
them
me
spoke.
so worried.
Then
I was
Mrs.
worried too,
Okafor
Mummy.
pulled back.
You made me so worried.
I was worried too, Mommy.
Then why did you run away? Because you left me with no choice.
Silence filled the room. Amaka took a deep breath.
I wasn't running away from you.
What were you running from?
A life that wasn't mine. You wanted me to marry a man I don't love.
I wanted you to have a good future.
I know.
But money isn't everything. Mrs. Okafor lowered her eyes. Tunde would have given you comfort. He could never give me peace. Those words stayed in the room.
Madam,
After a long silence,
Yes,
Naomi
Naomi.
finally spoke.
I've worked in your...
Madam, Mrs. Okafor looked at her. I've worked in your home for many years. I know. I've watched Amaka grow up. Mrs. Okafor remained quiet. Naomi continued gently. She's not refusing because she's stubborn. Then why? Because she's afraid of living an unhappy life. Mrs. Okafor looked at her daughter. Naomi took another step forward. A child should never be forced into marriage. Mrs. Okafor closed her eyes. For the first time, she remembered every argument, every tear, every time Amaka had begged her to listen. She had been so determined to protect her daughter's future that she had forgotten to protect her daughter's heart. Slowly, she looked at Amaka.
Do you really love him?
Yes.
And he loves you?
He has stood by me even when
Your family name brought him trouble.
I've made many mistakes.
Mrs. Okafor was silent for a long time. Finally, she sighed deeply. I've made many mistakes. Amaka felt tears gathering in her eyes. I only wanted you to hear me. Mrs. Okafor reached for her daughter's hand. I'm sorry. Amaka broke down in tears. Her mother pulled her into another embrace. I'm sorry for trying to control your life. Naomi smiled quietly as she watched them. Mrs. Okafor wiped her eyes before speaking again.
I will cancel the marriage arrangement.
You mean it?
Yes, but I want to meet Chika myself.
I know he'll make you proud. Mommy.
Amaka smiled through her tears. I know he'll make you proud. For the first time in many months, hope returned to both mother and daughter. The painful fight that had nearly torn them apart was finally coming to an end. 3 days later, Amaka returned home with her mother. The house felt different. There were no arguments. There were no raised voices. Mrs. Okafor had kept her promise. She called Senator Kalu and respectfully ended the marriage arrangement. Although he was disappointed, he accepted her decision. Tunde was angry, but there was nothing he could do. That weekend, Mrs. Okafor invited Chika to the house. Chika arrived in a simple, neatly ironed shirt and trousers. He was nervous as he stepped into the sitting room. Amaka smiled at him. You'll be fine, he smiled back. I hope so. A few moments later, Mrs. Okafor walked in. Chika stood up immediately. Good afternoon, Ma. Good afternoon, Chika. Please have your seat. He sat down quietly. For a few seconds, nobody spoke. Then Mrs. Okafor broke the silence.
I judged you before I knew you.
I understand, Ma.
You have my blessing.
I only want you to be happy.
I thought you were only after my daughter's wealth. I've never asked Amaka for anything. I know that now. She looked at him carefully. Tell me about yourself. Chika spoke honestly. He told her how he learned the mechanic's work from his late father, how he took care of Jude after their father's death, and how he hoped to own a modern automobile workshop and service center one day. He did not exaggerate. He simply spoke from his heart. Mrs. Okafor listened without interrupting him. When he finished, she smiled. I can see why my daughter believes in you. Chika lowered his head respectfully. I love Amaka, Ma. I may not have much today, but I promise to work hard every day to give her a good life. Mrs. Okafor nodded slowly. I believe you, Amaka smiled, unable to hide her happiness. Mrs. Okafor looked at both of them. You have my blessing. Tears filled Amaka's eyes. She stood up and hugged her mother. Thank you, Mummy. Mrs. Okafor hugged her back. I only want you to be happy. A week later, Mrs. Okafor called Chika to
I've
her
been thinking
office.
about your dream. I've been thinking about your dream.
My workshop?
Yes, I've decided to invest in it.
Ma, I believe hardworking people deserve a chance. Thank you. I don't even know what to say.
Chica looked at her in surprise. Ma? I believe hard-working people deserve a chance. He slowly opened the file. Inside were the documents for a large piece of land and enough money to begin building the workshop he had always dreamed about. Chica could hardly speak. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say much, Mrs. Okafor replied. Just keep being the man my daughter fell in love with. He stood up with tears in his eyes.
Thank you, Ma. I won't disappoint you. We did it.
Months passed. Construction began. With Chica's knowledge and Mrs. Okafor's support, the workshop grew into a modern automobile service center. People came from different places to repair their vehicles. The business became known for honest work and good customer service. Jude completed his training and joined his brother in managing the business. One evening, after closing for the day, Chica took Amaka to the workshop. The sun was beginning to set.
You did it.
We did it.
Chica smiled. We did it. He reached into his pocket and brought out a small ring. Amaka looked at him in surprise. He knelt down. Amaka Okafor, from the day we met beside that broken car, my life has never remained the same. You've believed in me when many people didn't. You've stood beside me through every challenge. Will you marry me? Amaka covered her mouth as tears filled her eyes. Without waiting another second, she nodded.
Yes. Yes, Chica. I will.
I love you.
A few months later, family and close friends gathered to celebrate their wedding. Naomi smiled proudly as she watched Amaka walk down the aisle. Jude could not stop smiling. Even Mrs. Okafor wiped away a quiet tear as she watched her daughter marry the man she truly loved. After the ceremony, she walked up to Chica. Take good care of her, Chica smiled. I will, Ma. And don't forget your promise. I won't. Years later, Chica's automobile service center had become one of the biggest in the state. He was respected not only because of his success, but because he remained humble and treated every customer with honesty. Amaka stood beside him through every step of the journey. Together, they built a happy home filled with love, respect, and peace. Looking at them, Mrs. Okafor often remembered how close she had come to losing her daughter because of her own ambition. She was grateful she chose love before it was too late. In the end, Amaka and Chica proved that a good heart is worth more than wealth, true love is stronger than pride, and the greatest success comes when people believe in each other instead of judging where they come from.